Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Virginia International Raceway has a history in two halves spanning almost 60 years, from its origins as a sports car course in the early 1950s to its resurrection today as more of a country club style venue. VIR, as it's commonly known, has been long considered one of the toughest courses to master in North America, and since then it's gone on to host some of the most prestigious road racing events in the USA, currently including the IMSA Sports Car Series, GT World Challenge America, and the SCCA runoffs, I should say. Such an amazing facility. And today it plays host to round 5 of the Spec Racer Ford Weekend Warrior Series. My name is Sebastian Boscher-Williams. In the virtual production booth today, we have Lewis Ward, and alongside me, as ever, I have Stevie Ray. Stevie, once again, welcome to the commentary booth. Now, Watkins Glen, what an amazing race we had 1 week ago. I still smile when I think about it. We've come to a track today that, you know, to the untrained eye, such as mine, feels like it's got the same characteristics, long back straight, you know, a lot of slipstreaming involved. Do you think we might see something similar to what we saw 1 week ago?
See something similar with draft packs, but it won't be quite the NASCAR style racing you saw. There's several technical areas on here that can and will break up some of the groups, but it definitely will be some of the heavy draft you saw before.
But anything like 1 week ago, and I'm certainly signing up for that. What an amazing race we had. It was sort of nullified in the midsection, wasn't it, when we had that accident heading up towards the hairpin, but still very, very entertaining. So how challenging is this track going to be for our drivers today? You know, it's a long track, you know, as you see on your screen at the moment, 3.24 miles. So it's really going to require a lot of concentration from the drivers. And correct me if I'm wrong, Stevie, but this track almost has every style of corner. It's a real driver's track.
It's very much a driver's track. It's, as you said, it's got about every style of corner. It tries to kick you off track everywhere. That's one of the reasons SCCA uses it for the runoffs. It is very much a challenging and a driver's track. You several places you go off, you get in the grass, and it's downhill slope, and you just keep going forever. So you don't want to go off. You don't want the track to reach up and slap you. You want to stay on the black stuff.
Certainly the name of the game in today's entry, but qualifying underway at the moment, as you see on the screen at the moment. The pole sitter Maurizio Naselli the fastest driver on the track, navigating a little bit of carnage on the circuit as he brakes off down the back straight into turn 14, the roller coaster as it's named. Such a difficult section of the track, but Naselli really mastering the circuit at this phase of qualifying, Stevie. Other drivers as well, actually. David Gasper's new fastest lap of the session by almost 2:10. So Gasper's really making a name for himself in this series. Very tight field, as that's the 2-2-0 car, I do believe, flying off the track at turn 14. A lock up there from a car behind. Drivers pushing a lot at the closing stages of qualifying and falling foul of the circuit.
Yeah, David Gaspers is definitely nothing new to the series. He's like a 7-time champion as well as our last champion that decided not to continue. So he watch out for Gaspers. He's always fast.
Certainly proving that. Pinero up into third place, just behind his teammate Naselli. Linforth green fastened, a driver that we have got so familiar seeing at the upper echelons of the field. Yorgmaini in 6th place overall, first in the Masters class. Paolo Gori improving through the first few sectors, finds himself up into 9th place. That's the 312 car. Once again, spinning off the track. That's as you enter onto the long back straight, turn 12, or Oak Tree as it's named, as we see drivers really struggling out on the circuit. I'm a little bit surprised, Stevie, because the track temperature is fairly low. I think it was 71 degrees Fahrenheit, so it's not the hottest it could be, and that allows the drivers to have a little bit more grip out there, but not a lot of grip to be found, at least by the looks of it.
No, like I said, the track is tricky. You're going to carry more speed than you think you've got, and like going into turn 1 and 2, the horseshoe, it tightens up on you as you go through and kind of catches you off guard. So you carry a little too much speed and off you go, and it's kind of that way throughout. You go up through the snake to Oak Tree. You try to get a good run out of Oak Tree onto the back straight, and again it tightens up on you coming out of it, and off you go into the grass once again. So keep an eye out for that.
Robert Nash, purple in sectors 1 and 2, improved through sectors 3 and 4, but cannot improve in the final 2 sectors. Nash, though, heads up into 8th place. A good finish, or a good position to start this race in for 8th place for Nash. 9/10 of the pole sitter, so really going to show how long this track is. If you think back to 1 week ago, it was, what, the top 30 or so, separated by less than a second here. Only the top 9. Gori, though, just outside that magical 1 second window. Everybody just lapping at the moment, getting in those final few laps of qualifying. And, you know, is it a sign of what's to come, Stevie? Drivers really not wanting to find as much of a slipstream as they did at Watkins Glen. Everybody happy to lap wherever they really find themselves on the circuit. They're not searching and sort of playing games to find a slipstream. So maybe we might sort of see that sort of play itself out when we get underway for the race.
Yeah, once in a while, you're quicker without the slipstream in this group. You get into a big pack of draft, and if you're towards the back, 2 or 3 cars back, you're braking earlier than you normally would, and it kind of slows you down. But then the pack's going to be faster on the straightaway. Overall, with so many curves, you end up going slower. So a lot of guys will just kind of run by themselves and see what they can get.
Certainly can. So, as we see on your screen at the moment, Yorgmaini, what can he do is getting a little bit of the slipstream at the moment as he heads down the back straight, down towards turn 1, the horseshoe. Really tricky, challenging corner. Robert Nash improving once again, finding some more purple sectors out on the circuit. Watch out for the number 03 car, Darwin Ramiro as well, another driver to be setting some fairly frantically fast sector times. On board though with Miney through turns 2 or 3 and 4. NASCAR bend into the left hook. Really not minding being in the slipstream at the moment, Stevie. That's a 21 ahead of him. But just, you can see his frustration behind the wheel, waiting for those front tyres to grip. A lot of understeer in Miney's car. That's certainly something that I don't think you'd want to have too much around the circuit, is understeer, lots of high-speed corners. If you don't manage to get that under control, you're going to be in, I think, for a very long race.
You get too much understeer, and you've got to start backing off a little bit earlier on the corner so you just don't slide through onto the grass. Monty's got a pretty good distance in front of himself to the next car there, so that's David Gasper, so he's not too worried about trying to catch him and being slowed down by David. David's going to pull him pretty good. On our timing chart, Robert Nash, you were mentioning, is showing up as a black, but his car number's 03, so he's a Spec 1 driver, brand new to the series, so welcome to Robert. We've got a few new ones again this week, so good to see Romero and they're number 14 and 13th overall at the moment, showing up very good for his first outing with the group.
Yeah, and both Nash and Romero setting some purple sector times as well, really showing their caliber at their early phases of their SRF Weekend Warrior careers. Three wide, heading down towards turn 14. Don't tend to see that too often in qualifying. It's very much spec racer for things. Lynn has come out of the pits, won't be able to get a final lap in, so Lynn's just doing practice that cannot physically get around the track in time to start his final flying lap. Richter, I think, just about setting a lap time, but this is the man to watch. Robert Nash, purple in sector 1, purple in sector 6. Can he improve? Can he find his way further up the field? Yes, he can. Right behind Haratsky, who takes the Masters pole position, or at least provisional pole, I should say. Nash finds himself in 6th overall, 5th place in the Spec 1 class. Pinheiro, this is a man who has been so quick this season, to the first pole position all the way back at Tsukuba. What can he do? Purple, not purple, green, isn't it, through sectors 3 and 4 for Pinheiro. A little bit of traffic up ahead of him. Is that going to help or hinder him? I wonder. The 46, where can he put himself? Third place is his current position. Qualifying has come to an end. The checkered flag flies, and Pinheiro does not improve, so he will finish third, although Stevie, he might have just been able to cross the line before the session ticked over, so he might just be able to get another lap in if he's got enough time, but I think that's a little bit irrelevant as he's pulled into the pits. Not too many people improving out on the circuit, but it's fair to say David Gasper's looking pretty good for his pole position. Yeah,
David, like I said, he's well known to the Weekend Warriors, multi-time champion, so not surprising to see him up at the top for me.
No, certainly proving his caliber. Michelle Baglini, where can they put themselves? Not set a lap time yet. Rodriguez as well. Oh, and that's off the track there for, I think that might have been Lynn, not quite sure, didn't catch that, but certainly not what you want to be doing on your final lap of qualifying. That wasn't Yang Ji Ling. We see him diving into the pits. Driver's getting a little bit of pit in practice. Do you think that might be a sign of what to come? Is it a particularly difficult pit entry around VIR?
Not so difficult, but you want to carry as much speed for as long as you can and still get under the pit limiter there at the end where the cones are. So they're going to push it all the way to find out how far they can go and still make it down to speed. These cars do not have the pit limiters in them, so it's all about that right foot.
So technical, it's so difficult as well. It's not the case of just hitting a pit limiter, really adds another dimension. As we see on board with Bradford, Bill just coming around final few corners of the circuit. He will start on spec 2 pole position. Great qualifying from him, pulls into the pits, gets that ever crucial pit in practice, and Mateus Vega, the only driver out on the circuit at the moment, although Mateus off the track, not really paying attention at the wheel. Something that you only really have the luxury of doing in sim racing, but Vega just going for the scenic approach, heading down towards turn 14, but I do believe, Stevie, that is our grid set for today's race.
Yep, I think we're done, so.
As we have a look, Longin, another driver out on the circuit, drivers really wanting to get as many laps of practice in, which is understandable. And just something to note, David Gaspers did 6 laps in qualifying. Compare that to Robert Nash's 10. So did Jorg Meine, also completed 10 laps in that qualifying session. David Gaspers managed to clinch the pole position with 4 laps fewer than many of the competitors around him. So Gaspers not needing as much time to build up to that perfect lap time. The session ends, and this will be your grid for round 5 of the Spec Racer Ford Weekend Warrior Series. Stevie, why don't you read us through our grid?
All right. Let's see. Heading off on the pole position, as you said, we have David Gaspers returning to the series, multi-time national champion. Not surprised to see him up there. Mauricio Naselli on his outside. Marco Pinero and Youngsi Lin fill out row 2. Masters kick off with Miro Haraski there in the 3rd row with Robert Nash, a new Spec 1 driver on his outside. Jorg Meine, another Masters driver right behind Miro with Jason Green on his outside. Felix Simoes and Ferenz Arabian on his outside. Ferenz returning to the group. He's been gone for a little while. Michael Dobeck and Paulo Gori round out row 6. Kane Lasky and Darwin Romero, another one of our new drivers there in 14th. Matthias Weiger, Steve Elson. Bradford Gold kicks off the Spec 2 drivers, and Bobby West on his outside. Jesus Rodriguez with Kuzma Lesnoy, Jim Brewster and Jeff Jacobson, Alan McCain, Megan Overstreet round out the top 24. 25th starts off with Spec 2 driver Andrea Favini and Luca Leone, Spec 1. Todd Hansen and Kurt Nunez, Marcus Burkett, Adam Bradshaw round out the top 30. Another Masters row, Tom Gradwell, Andrew Love, Ian Gibson, and Mark Johnson, another one of our new guys. Chris Montgomery, Stephen Mitchell for 36th. 37th, we kick off with another Masters, Ken Batley and Jarvis Nalago. Marco Trespetti and Darren Kuhn round out the top 40. We have a large grid today. Phil Berry from Down Under with Paul Jackson on his outside, Gary Wolbolt, Joshua Justice, Johnny Longan, Bobby Moss, Mark Sherman, and Jeff Richer round out top 48. Flavio Andalo, Michelle Vaglini, and Brian Short for 51 total. Is Brian out there?
Brian is not out there at the track, out on the circuit, I should say. Neither is Flavio and Darlo, or Michelle Vaglini is the final car. So 2 drivers not starting for 49 cars around VIR. Stevie, you can't really ask for more on a Sunday night. Gonna be a really interesting race, this one, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's this group is really strong. It's a lot of fun. We keep growing. I think we had 49 last week at Watkins Glen. VIR is not the most popular track, so put 49 on here shows something for the league. We're going to have a lot of fun, a lot of draft, a lot of action for you. Maybe a little different action than the NASCAR style last week, but there's going to be a lot of action.
I like the sound of that. Riding on board with Alan McCain, the Spec 2 race winner from 1 week ago, starts 3rd in class today, although fair while away from his competition. Of course, everybody is in the same class. It's not like multi-class or traditional multi-class racing where, you're sort of on the same pace, at least the cars are on the same pace. So really quite an uphill battle for McCain and other drivers further down the Spec 2 field. Bradford Gould's lap was so quick. He starts 17th overall. Compared that to Lesnoy's 20th place, so 3 places in between 1st and 2nd in the Spec 2 class. There's a little bit of a traffic jam heading through Oak Tree Corner, not unsurprising, and hazards a guess that we might see a little bit more of that in racing conditions. But it will be the 21 of David Gaspers who will take this pack under green flag conditions with 49 cars following suit. full pace lap around here. And Stevie, I always love these full pace laps because the anticipation builds, and you know that that's also happening within the cockpit. And you just sometimes see drivers getting a little bit aggressive or overly aggressive at the start, and you can always sort of put it down to the long pace lap and that building sense of anticipation.
Yeah, the long pace lap, they're thinking, okay, what do I need to do? What's going to happen here going into turn one? Where do I want to be? You got plenty of time to overthink it. Again, the best thing to do is these guys just need to settle in, find an empty place, leave a little extra room for a little while, and try to get everybody to the finish. So get ready. Here we go.
Get ready, here we go. 21 of Caspers is on the pole when he gets underway, and it's Panera and Naselli having a scrap before the green flag is even flown as we go racing here for round 5. And it's a great start from your pole sitter of David Caspers. They all file their way down towards turn number 1, and that's Hiratsky making a move on Jorg Meine. I do believe heading into turn 1, they all just about successfully navigate turn 1 up through turns 2 and into the braking zone of NASCAR Bend. Turn 3, 2x2 in the background, but everybody getting away cleanly. Now, that's wide from Hiratsky. Jorg Meine capitalizes and finds his way up into the Masters class winners. There's a car off the circuit in the background. Car spins and contact is made. Is Alan McCain caught up? It is last week's Spec 2 race winner falling down the order. Cars heading that way and every way on the circuit. Really taking the avoiding action. And there's a little bit of a car park through turn 4. And 1, 2, 3, 4 cars. And we didn't see that 1 week ago at Watkins Glen, but we certainly have seen the fireworks fly at the opening few corners of this race.
Yeah, like I said, this one is a lot more technical, a lot more chances for that to happen. So, looked like Jorg Meine fell down. Nope, he's still in 7th. We just lost it on the timing chart a minute. Ferenz Arabian made a strong start coming up the inside into 1 in that purple car, so he's showing some of his prowess.
Certainly is the number 2. Hiratsky, Samoes and Arabian all battling it out, and that's over 9th place. Hiratsky in the lead. Arabian now comes through, tries to make his way past Hiratsky as Samoes now finds his way up into that 8th place. Hiratsky falling down. Arabian off the track into the braking zone of turn 14. Gets away with it, but allows Samoes just to find his way further up the field. Panera now leads the race overall, getting past Gaspers. Gaspers, though, slipstreaming him and really tries to return the favour as soon as possible. Gaspers goes to the outside line, is in theory the racing line, and actually Panera lets Naselli go as well. As you see Nash and Lynn arriving at a great rate of knots into turn 1. Lynn on the inside gets past Robert Nash. Paolo Gori having a battle with Hiratsky, I should say. Hiratsky losing the Masters race lead. A little bit of contact there between Latsky and Bradshaw. They'll both get away with that, but already lots of little contacts being made into turn 1. And there's the damaged car of the 212 of Alan McCain, not the race that he would have started. Wide from the 251. That's Mark Sherman at the wheel of that car, not getting turn 1 as neatly as he would have liked. Steve Elson always being bump drafted by Gould behind, and we're not really even on the straights. We're still in the technical corners, and bump drafting very much almost in play already. Stevie, I think we're going to be in for a wild and wonderful race, undoubtedly. See Jason Green under pressure from Felix Samoes. Samoes is so quick at this phase of the race. It takes so much more speed through Oak Tree Corner, and I think, is Oak Tree Corner the corner that you see on your screen at the moment? Is that a valid overtaking opportunity, or is it all about following the car through to get the run down the back straight?
Yeah, you really need to set yourself up coming out of Oak Tree more than a dive underneath it into Oak Tree. You've got such a long straight after that, and it's a draft straight. So if you do make a pass before Oak Tree, you're going to expect to be passed right back coming down Madison Avenue straight.
what a race we have in store for you today. So Casper's in second place, gaining on the back straight, and we have two damaged cars of Logini and McCain just trying to find their way past each other as Caspers goes to the inside. Naselli on the outside. Lin has arrived from nowhere, tries to go around the outside of the 46, does so successfully. Can he find his way past Naselli? Naselli will show him the door, but all while Lin and Naselli are having this scrap for second place, Caspers just allows, or is able, I should say, to run up the road to gain a little bit more time over the leading pair. But Caspers goes wide through turn 3, and that's undone all of its hard work through the opening few corners. It's Caspers, Naselli, Lin, Pinero, your top 4. Don't count out Robert Nash. He's in 5th place at the moment. Another Spec 1 driver. He is still involved in this race. Only 1.2 seconds off the back of Caspers. Is that Lin lifting off, though, into the S's? It's going to be another fuel race. We know how good Lin can be with fuel saving.
You get such a...
might be fuel saving.
Nah, not necessarily. You get such a strong draft coming up there. You don't want to get into the guy's back, so you have to kind of lift going through the S's there in the snake. Those guys battling up front a little bit. You could see brought Nash right back up to the battle. So the 4 cars turned into 5, and if they keep it up, that next back's going to catch them as well.
Pack currently led by Felix Samoes, who managed to find his way past York Maney on the exit of turn 12. Certainly seeing positions change on the exit. Very traction dominated is the exit of Oak Tree. Naselli finds his way up into the lead. Caspers late under brakes into turn 14, tries to hang it around the outside. That will become the inside, though, for the next few corners. Caspers holds on to the race lead. Naselli tried to challenge him into turn 14, the roller coaster section, but could not get it done. And Caspers now really defending this race lead, but Lin is looming large in the background. Naselli pulls to the outside. He once again will try his chances at getting past Caspers and up into the race lead. Caspers just has to brake late, get the move secured under braking. Lin now finds the inside line through turn 1, will find his way past Naselli. Naselli down to 3rd, but Robert Nash, he's arrived on the scene at a great rate of knots. I said don't count him out, and he's already proving that to be true. In 5th place at the moment. Next up for Robert Nash is Marco Pinero, but you're right when you say that all the time that these top 5 are scrapping and battling, Samoes, Maney, Arabian and Green, and actually Gory as well, are all catching this pack. Stevie could very much become involved in the battle for the race win, and then Dobek in 11th as well. He's not too far adrift of the lead, of the next pack ahead of him, so we could very easily, if the battles continue on the track, find ourselves with 10-15 cars theoretically in a battle for the race win.
Yeah, I think that second pack is being a little more disciplined and staying in line and following each other to try to catch that lead pack. The third pack back there, I'm not sure they've got a chance. Oh, we just had an accident back there.
Was that Elson spinning around? No, it was 2 cars behind him. Was that Rodriguez going a little bit wide of the mark? I think it might have been Jesus Rodriguez. Lin, though, heads up into the race lead. Teres Vega falling down the order as well. Something certainly happened through Oak Tree Corner. Lin is your new race leader. I hypothesise that you might be saving fuel. No fuel saving to be found there, though. I think you were right, Steve. He was just lifting off, really, to not run into the back of the cars ahead of him. And Caspers now once again finds himself in 2nd place, but in that slipstream will pull out to the outside line. It's a role reversal of 1 lap ago where it was Caspers on the inside defending from Naselli. It's now Lin defending from Caspers as we head up towards the braking zone. Will Lin play this risky? Will he brake late? Will he try to stay in the race lead? Yes, he does. Sends those to the inside. There's still an overlap. Caspers now has the outside line. That will become the inside line for turn 2, and Caspers retakes the race lead. Lin momentarily held it, but Caspers wants to lead this race. And I think that's really telling, isn't it, Stevie? He doesn't... It's not like Watkins Glen when... I know I keep on referring back to it, but it's not, like whoever was in 2nd place was was the driver who was really in control of the pack, could save fuel. It sort of tells me that the drivers don't want to save fuel and they're all about leading the race. Ramiro, great move around the outside of Mateus Vega, and Romero now finds himself in 17th place.
Yeah, you want to lead for most of this lap until you get to the backstretch, and then that's when you really want to be in second. So it's kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. That last lap is really going to be telling if we've got a pack that the leader is not going to want to be the leader down that back straight on that last lap unless he's got a gap.
Miro defending from Vega up into turn 11, really getting close to contact. Lin tries his hand once again to retake the race lead. He tried it a lap ago, was successful, and Gaspers just lets it happen. But David Gaspers knows that all he really has to do is hold his line through the roller coaster section and get it down towards turn 1. Steve Elton slipstreaming west as there's more action in the background. Lesnoy gets past Overstreet. Lasky gets past Jacobson. It's all changed, almost 4 wide as they head into turn 14. Overstreet on the inside. Lesnoy trying to go all the way around the outside. Is that Gould off the track? Yes, it is. Bradford Gould, the driver, if I was not mistaken, was leading. Oh, and almost collides with somebody off. You're right. Was that Mark Johnson at the wheel? It might have been. We go right back, though, to your battle for the race lead. Gaspers on the outside, Lin on the inside. No, it isn't a replay. We are seeing this happen once again. Gaspers will have the inside line for turn 2, like he did 1 lap ago. Has Lin learned to brake a little bit later? No, Lin can't. And you will have to settle for 2nd place. So Hansen now leads in the Spec 2 class. I do believe that it was... Sorry, it was, who was it who went off the track? It's all going on in the commentary booth. It was the driver that we saw off the track. Dave eludes me at the moment. So Hansen now leads in the Spec 2. He's got Ramiro right behind him, although that's not for a class position. So you had to guess that Hansen might ease Ramiro through just to protect that Spec 2 lead.
Once again, they're racing within class, but also on track. Each position on track, regardless of class, is more points. So Hansen Romero racing. It's still early. We haven't got 2 pit stops, so that's something else to consider. He may want to sit back and watch till we get through the pit stops and then see what happens. But back there, we just saw coming out of Oak Tree, and we got one going into Oak Tree.
Hansen is off the track and out of this race. I was just saying maybe he should just let the driver behind him go, Darwin Ramiro, but I don't know if it was pressure or contact, but steaming off the track went Todd Hansen, and Hansen finds himself out of this race and back into the pit. So riding on board, Stevie, take us through it.
Yeah, we're coming in Oak Tree. He looks like he went a little late on his braking, carried too much speed, and off you go. And once you get off in the grass, you're not stopping until you hit that wall. That's one problem with Oak Tree. And then coming out of Oak Tree, the guys hit the dust out on the outside and throw them off as well. So coming in or going out, Oak Tree's going to try to get you.
The motto, at first you don't succeed, try again, comes to mind. Gaspers around the outside once again. This time gets the move done before the exit of turn 1 has been completed. Naselli's watching this in 3rd place. He's just watching all of the fireworks unfold. Lin wants to lead this race, has clearly the pace in the slipstream and has a good exit out of Oak Tree, but Gaspers is just superb through the roller coaster section, final sector of the track, gets a good run out of the final corner, gets the lead back before turn 1. And I'm just surprised that we're not seeing Naselli and Pinero sort of make a move. You know, like how you were saying, Stevie, you know, the pack behind, they were sort of playing, you know, quite smartly. It feels like Pinero and Naselli are. Lin, this time, tries to lead up through the S's through turns 4 and 5. Gets the move done through the snake, and Lin takes the race lead in a fairly unconventional place. That does give Gaspers, though, the slipstream down the back straight as they head into turns 11 and 12. Oak Tree corner. Who gets the better run? Oh, it will be Gaspers. Lin, oh, so wide on the exit. Lin, a very unusual place to overtake, and Gaspers, Stevie, well, he's trying to do what Lin does and get the move done before turn 14.
Yeah, he comes right back. Like I said, you can get the pass done going into Oak Tree, but chances are they're going to come right back around you going down that straight called the Madison Avenue. I think the teammates, Naselli and Pinero, have just decided to follow suit and stay in line and kind of watch what happens till after the pit stops. And don't count out Nash. I like what he's doing. He's kind of standing there watching what's happened. He's right in line. The only issue that he's going to have is he's new to the league, and I don't know how his pit stops are going to work out. So we'll have to see how he does with the pit stops.
Bradford Gould. Oh, contact made. That's Gradwell off the circuit, spearing off into the wall. Heavy damage to the front end of Tom Gradwell's car. Want to be able to get that car back to the pitch. You see the suspension working over time to really handle the bumps presented over the grass. That was Gradwell, and I do believe another one of the Spec 2 cars, as we see Steve Elson, now Stephen Mitchell I should say. Oh, it's a car very much damaged and struggling to keep that car on the circuit. Few pit stops underway. I should mention Ked Bately and Burkett both into the pits. Bradford Gould, a driver who was having such a good race in the Spec 2 class. It's all fallen a little bit, it's come undone, I should say, for him. And Jeff Jacobson, a little bit of a sandwich at the moment. Lynn and Gasper still battling it out. Battles up and down the field, Stevie, and I tell you what, I'm thoroughly enjoying this race around VIR. It's not normally a track that I enjoy, but the Spec Racer 4s are proving that this track is surely one of the best in North America.
Yeah, it's a great track. Like I said, the runoffs were there. They had a really great Spec Racer 4 runoffs, although it was in the wet, so that kind of made it a little difference. But these guys, it fits this car very well. You've got enough straight for the draft to do some passing and some race strategy, and then it's got some really technical stuff that you've got to learn to get right, or you're just not going to stay up front.
Talking of staying up front, Gaspers once again retakes the race lead. This time Lynn can stick a little bit closer through turns 14 and 15 as we head towards the fortunately named Hog Pen corners, these double right-hander of turn 16B and turn 17. We're having a little bit of discussion earlier of this track. It has 18 official corners, but many of them actually have 2 or more designations, sort of turn 5B and turns 5A. For example, Lynn to the inside, to the outside, I should say, gets the place back over Gaspers. Naselli and Pinero very well behaved in third and fourth. Haratsky tries to find his way past Dobek. Dobek almost gives him the positions further down the field. Jeff Jacobson in the 40 car, gaining on Ramiro, gaining and gaining, cannot get the move done though as we head into the braking zone of turn 1. Thought about sending it up the inside of Ramiro, but just had to back out of it for now. I think a few more drivers coming into the pits. Jeff Fritzter is the one who's into the pits. You know, when we're talking 1 week ago, Stevie, and we were saying, you know, about do you want to come into the pits early, and we decided not because, you know, you had the slipstream. Is this a track where you can come into the pits early, you can get the undercut, you can sort of be a little bit more strategic with your pit stops?
Yes, you can. Being a longer track, it's not so much of coming back out into the traffic almost like you were guaranteed at Watkins Glen with so many cars on that shorter track. This one, you can make an early pit stop, do the undercut, get back out, get some clean running, and then when the guys up front make their stop, chances are if you've had some good laps and they've slowed each other down kind of like we're seeing, you got a good shot of being ahead of them. So this one would work for an early stop versus a late stop.
Nash makes his move past Pinero, and Robert Nash, the newcomer to the series, decides that it's his time to strike. Gaspers as well made his way past Lynn. It's almost not worthy of note. Those two have been swapping places so much in this race so far. Kane Latsky in 15th place, the 09 car really almost being pushed along by the 22 of VIR, as we see many drivers. As we see Naselli and Pinero both into the pits. A few more drivers now deciding that this is the time to come into the pits, and that's smart by Pinero and Naselli because you almost get the best of both worlds. They can stitch each other around the circuit. Naselli and Pinheiro almost sort of playing a strategic blindsider here. Lin and Kaspers, I think, going to have to be very, very quick to respond. Vega tries to find his way around the outside of Latsky, I should say, onto the brakes. We go for turn one, getting my words all muddled up. But Kane Latsky does not fall foul of the same issues that I am facing in the commentary booth. He finds himself still in 13th place. Lin, though, surely Stevie has to be into the pits at the end of this lap.
Lin's known for going longer than anybody else, though, so he may play the long game and try to run out front. He's got clean air, so you don't know. He's like I said, he's known for going longer than anybody else. Him and David Gaspers have been pushing it hard, though. Naselli and Pinheiro have been just letting them race it out and following, so they may have a shorter pit stop than what these two, Lin and Gaspers, have. So we'll see. And like I said, Nash has been hanging in there. He's saving gas. He's in the draft. So if he has practiced the pit stops and ready for the league, you could see Nash pull something off as well. He's kind of right at the edge of the draft now with Naselli and Pinheiro pulling off into the pits. Kind of left him a little gap.
Gaspers once again retakes the race lead in the background, though. They're 2 by 2 into turn 13. It's Samoes who is trying to find his way past the purple entry of Arabian, the number 2 car. Bobby West in 10th place. What can he do? Can he find his way past Dobek into turn 14? No, he cannot. But drivers are really racing out on the circuit. Chris Montgomery in 19th place at the moment. He's trying to find his way past Bradshaw. Behind him, he's got Gould. And then Marco Pinheiro. And Pinheiro, what's happened to him? He's some 5 seconds off Naselli. Well, goes wide is Montgomery. Montgomery returns onto the track, but oh, contact is made. 1, 2, 3, and you're right. Pinheiro gets caught up in on the action, and that's what can happen if you pit early in the race. As you get caught up, you come out with other cars on the circuit, and Pinheiro getting involved could not avoid the incident and will now have to carry that front end damage towards the end of the race. But Pinheiro was far away from his teammate of Naselli, sort of 5 seconds before that incident. As we see a replay, as we ride on board with Pinheiro, nothing he could have done, Stevie.
No, nothing he could do. They spun in front of him. The guy got on the brakes to try to avoid hitting, and right there, Pinheiro was right there. But yeah, I don't know what happened to him and Naselli, how they got separated so much.
Yeah, really intriguing, and you know, we're saying that Naselli and Pinheiro were playing a strategic blindsider by pitting together, and by the same thought would come out together and they could sort of slipstream each other. Here we see another angle of the incident. So Bradshaw went very deep to the inside, pushed the 313 car wide, and they all met in the middle, didn't they, with everybody really not benefiting out of the situation. Lin and Gaspers once again battling it out. I'm almost, I think I'll be a little bit surprised when one of them pits and the other one has to take the actual racing line into turns 13 and 14, because they've just been offline every lap, making the move past one another. Paolo Gori now finds himself up into 4th place, although, you know, because a few drivers have come into the pit lane. But Gori leads Arabian, leads Samoes, Miney and Green all in this battle, as we see Lin and Nash both pull to the pit lane. So it will be David Gaspers who will at least extend his stint by a lap. Stevie, Gori as well, another driver to extend. But Lin, Nash, Arabian, Samoes, Maney and Green all deciding that now is the time to come into the pits. And it really will be a question of whether the undercut is the quicker strategy, or whether staying out one lap longer, getting that clean air over the front of your car will help you just extend that gap, or maybe even make a place or two.
Yeah, I tell you what, Gaspers is hammered down now to see what he can get this lap. If he's planning on pitting next lap, he's definitely trying to see what he can get. But all those guys pitting together is definitely going to help them. They're going to come out together, have some draft. Naselli is also in some clean air. He's trying to push his way back up through.
So Maurizio Naselli has not managed to find his way past Robert Nash. Nash, Lin, all already out of the pit. So Samoes, another driver to come into the pits, but finds himself a little bit of a drift of that Lin-Nash battle, although that's not too much of a surprise, but Felix Samoa is finding the pace that he really found 1 week ago. Michael Dobek, another driver to have not made his stop in today's proceedings. In fact, the top 5 have not pitted yet, and that's Mateus Vega, Jesus Rodriguez, Bobby West, Michael Dobek, and your race leader, David Gaspers. As we see David heading down towards turns 13 and 14, the roller coaster as it's named. Surely we'll see that 21 car grace its presence into the pit lane, and Gaspers really just needs a clean-in lap. He needs to nail the pit entry but not get a penalty, just, you know, play it perfectly. But if anybody on the grid can do it, it's certainly David Gaspers.
There you go. He's got some good car control, gets down to speed, and up to his pit stop. He's always known for a fast stop as well, so this is going to be interesting to see where he comes out. My little pea brain and arithmetic said he was going to come out behind Lin, but we'll see what happens.
Interestingly, the gap between Lin and Naselli is some 4 seconds or so. Naselli, though, found his way past Robert Nash on that lap as we ride on board with Yangtze Lin. Will he take the race lead? Will he be racing with Gaspers? Gaspers is on the pit exit. Lin takes the lead, but Gaspers is right behind him. As we have a little bit of a back marker, I do believe, in between the 909 car of Tom Gradwell. Yes, it is. Gradwell running in 43rd place. Robert Nash tries to find his way around the outside of Naselli into the break zone of turn 1. Cannot be found, and Naselli still remains in 5th place, but everybody bar Dobek now has come into the pits. Well, actually Mark Johnson, another driver out on the circuit who has not made his not mandatory pit stop, but almost necessary pit stop in terms of getting enough fuel to finish the race. But it just surprises me, Stevie, that, you know, Naselli and Nash are some, you know, 2-3 seconds off the back of Lin and Gaspers, as Gaspers retakes the place over Lin. Kane Latsky, still battling this time with Lesnoy. Latsky going all the way around the outside of turn 1. That becomes inside for turn 2. And Lin struggling for pace and really falling away from Gaspers. Gaspers running away with this race lead at the moment. Got a little bit of a lap car to get past of Tom Gradwell. I hazard a guess. Oh, spinning back marker we see there.
Gradwell in front of him.
Right, it was Gradwell. What's happened to Bradshaw, I wonder? What happened to David Gaspers? Oh, has Lin gone off the track? Has he been slow? Has he been caught out maybe by the back marker? So that's how Gaspers managed to retake the lead over Yangtze Lin.
I was wondering, because when Gaspers came out, Lin had quite a lead on him. And then all of a sudden we saw Gaspers back in front of him. So I was kind of wondering what happened to Lin.
Very peculiar, but that spinning back marker of Gradwell has allowed Lin to not only get back into the fight for what will be the race lead when they cross the line as they pass Dobek and Rodriguez, but you know, it has allowed him to get back up into the race lead as well. As we see Gaspers tries to go around the outside. It's once again a repeat of what we've seen lap after lap. Gaspers so late under brakes, can take that wide line into turn 1, gets the place and finds himself back up into the lead of this race. 27, almost 28 minutes gone out of the 40 minutes here today, and Pinheiro on the recovery drive down the inside of Johnson finds himself quite easily up into 11th place. He's got Rodriguez and Dobek up ahead of him. Those two have just come out of the pits, and it's very much battle resumed between those two drivers. Rodriguez just manages to find his way past Dobek. Thinks about a move, though it does Dobek and Gaspers. Well, those two almost can record myself commentating over these two. Have been, you know, lockstep this entire race, and really doesn't seem that that's going to end anytime soon.
They've raced many times against each other in the officials, and a few times in the Weekend Warriors, so these two know each other very well. David is very well known in the SRF community, so he's him and Lin are just going to go tooth and nail here. Nash did an awesome job in the pits. Like I said, I was kind of watching him. Him and Naselli now are battling for the last step on the podium.
currently held by Robert Nash, one of the newcomers to the series in this race. Gaspers, though, tries that, well, will be inside line into turn 13. Lin tries to hang on, tries to be brave, tries to send it. Lock up, though, from Lin. And Gaspers takes the race lead, but is that mistake hurt Lin's chances at getting the race win today? Pinheiro involved in a scrap between the 76 car, that's Rodriguez, and Dobek, as Pinheiro just manages to avoid all of the carnage as late goes, or wide goes Dobek, gets a tap for good measure from Pinheiro. That will allow Rodriguez to get past. Dobek, well, really started that off with a lockup into turn 14, but was not helped by Pinheiro's fairly firm stance into turn 14. Battles further down the field. That's Latsky, Letsnoy and Fritzter. Johnson and Justice both heading into the pits. Kane Latsky, another driver who seems to have a very, has had, I should say, a very adventurous race so far. And Maurizio Nicelli, another driver to add to that list, finds himself in the final step of the podium.
Yeah, the Spec 2 lead is changing now with Joshua Justice making his pit stops. Puts Lesnoy back up front. And Dalago is also making his stop. So Spec 2 class is changing, even though we've got quite a few cars in between them. This is going to be interesting for their win as well. You can see on the timing tower, Monty is back up front by a considerable number of cars between him and Haratsky. And then that drops down to Marcus Burkett and Kurt Nunez battling for the last step on the Masters podium.
Nunez and Burkett then having their own battle. You're right, they're fairly adrift of Haratsky in second and Haratsky fairly adrift of Maini in first in the Masters class. Kurt Nunez in the 918 car chasing Burkett. You see him right up ahead of him, but they've got Fritzter as well. As you see Nicelli being passed by Robert Nash, and that looked a little bit tactical there by Nicelli. Looked like he lifted off the throttle, almost accepted Nash's invitation to pass. Arabian tries to find his way past Jorg Maini. Maini now finds himself up into 5th place. And Jorg Maini did not have the best of qualifying, so I think it's fair to say Stevie, but once again, proving his racecraft is just simply superb. Some more drivers whose racecraft I think you could add to that list is Lin and Gaspers. Gaspers on the inside. Lin tries to take a little bit out of David's book and go all the way around the outside of turn 1. Jorg Maini and Arabian side by side into turn 1. Maini on the inside. He'll come under pressure from Samoes in the background now. Can Samoes make his way up into 6th place? Can he dethrone Maini from a top 6 finish? Maini just holds on, but like we saw early on with Robert Nash just looming large in the background with that Lin and Gaspers fight, Green doing the same over this battle for 5th place, and it sort of just feels like the race, Stevie, where if you just hang back for a few laps, if you just sort of watch the state of play and almost allow everybody around you to make a mistake to get involved in a crash, you can pick up a lot of positions in one go. Yeah,
this track, like I said, it's a little bit of attrition. You make a mistake and the track reaches up and slaps you and kicks you off, and everybody else that's been kind of watching it, they benefit by it. We had our Formula V weekend warriors before this, and the same thing happened on the last lap. Three cars up front, 2 of them got together. I was running in 4th and got a 2nd place out of it, just kind of watching and seeing what happened. So it's kind of the nature of this track. It even happened in the real world with the runoffs, is guys just kind of minding their P's and Q's and sitting back watching, and inherit some positions from other guys just overstepping their boundaries, pushing it just a little too hard and making a mistake.
Well, we see the same fate then before our drivers today. 33.5 minutes gone of this 40-minute race. Arabian in 6th place, Maini making a little bit of a break in 5th. And Arabian coming under pressure from Felix Samoes. Green as well getting involved. I really like that term, minding his P's and Q's, is Green in the background. But what can he do in that 160 machine? Samoes in the slipstream though of Arabian up towards turn 1. Samoes darts left, then decides to go down the inside, late braking from Felix Samoes, almost makes contact with Jorg Meine. I'm sure Meine was looking in his mirror just going, please do not make contact with me, but Samoes gets away with it and finds himself up into 6th place. And Darlow and Bradshaw, that's a battle down in 24th or for 24th place, and Darlow was almost bump drafting Bradshaw down the back straight. I was sort of almost joking earlier that we were seeing a little bit of bump drafting, but I think we might have just seen a little bit of spec forward racing bump drafting heading down towards turn 14, and Lesnoy finds himself in the spec 1 lead as Latsky goes wide. Oh, is that a very
He might have got a slowdown there or something.
Latsky going very, very slowly as he hugs the inside line of turn 3.
Is he running out of gas, or did he get a slowdown?
That is the question. It'll be fairly early on. There must be a slowdown.
Yeah.
Latsky up to pace once again, but
Yep.
Latsky lost, what, 3, 4, 5 positions through
Yep.
a slowdown, and
It's-
maybe not necessarily the safest way to give up a slowdown.
Yeah, it's hard to pay back slowdown. You get one on this track in a weird place, and they add 2 seconds onto you, and it's just hard to give that back up without just totally getting off the throttle off track.
This Samoa's Mania Arabian Green battle is going to go down to the wire almost undoubtedly. Jorg Meine now finds himself in 6th place, with Samoa's making his way up into 5th down the back straight. They don't really have too much of a chance to catch up to Nash and Nicelli, who still are lockstep. So are these two, Lynn and Gaspers. Almost every lap now they've gone side by side at some stage of the racetrack. Gaspers on the inside allows Lynn to go all the way around the outside. Can Robert Nash produce the same heroics that Lynn did? No, as we see just all of these packs just battling it out frantically in the closing stages of the race. Jorg Meine defends over or from Arabian as we head down towards turn 2. And Dobek now, and Rodriguez and West. This is the battle for 10th place, so many places up for grabs. In fact, I don't think there's too many places at the moment, Stevie, that aren't up for grabs. Just goes to show how competitive this field really is.
Yeah, you got battles all up and down the field. That's one good thing about the Weekend Warriors. It doesn't matter your skill level. There's going to be somebody to race with. But I like what Green's doing. He's sitting in back watching these guys. You get a pack of 4 like that, the 3 up front are battling. Somebody is going to push it to the limit just a little bit too much, and Green's going to take advantage of it.
Yeah, Green, surely must be feeling pretty happy in his position at the moment. You see that 160 car just almost, you can tell, just lifting off, waiting and just almost expecting fireworks to fly up ahead of him.
Last lap, till the last lap, and then he'll push his way through. He'll just decide, okay, these guys aren't going to make a mistake. I've got to take it now.
Well, you're a better racer than me, Stevie, because I'd have just waited until the race is over. I always forget that it's the last lap. It always comes up at me a little bit too late on in the day. Gaspers on the outside. Lynn almost made contact with the 21 car. Gaspers takes the race lead, but will give the slipstream to Lynn down the back straight, down towards turn 1. Dobek gets past West, all positions changing, but Gaspers rocketing out of the final corner. Might have done enough in that final few corners to get ahead of Lynn, and Lynn really on the back foot now as we have just over 2 minutes to go. I believe we'll have 2 more laps of racing, and Lynn backing off. I think Lynn waiting for the final lap to make his move and to make his way up into the race win.
And while he's backing off a little bit, waiting, Nicelli and Nash are catching him.
Yeah, Nicelli and Nash putting in some fairly quick lap times, and still very close between those two. That's the battle for the final place on the podium. Nash has a little bit of a look into turn 4, thinks better of it, but showing Nicelli that he is there and he really wants that 3rd place. Rodriguez gets past Dobek, so that battle for 10th place still remains fierce as ever. and Gaspers and Lin. Lin, we saw him make the move, didn't we? Through sort of turns 5 through the snake. I wonder if Lin's planning to do the same on the final lap.
I think that would be too early. I think if anything, he's going to have to wait until we get to the back straight to Madison Avenue and kind of take it going into the roller coaster and hang on through Hog Pen. That's the more typical pass for the win back there.
It's all about the decision, isn't it? Oh, it's Kumas Lesnoy goes off the circuit, and Lesnoy, who is your Spec 1 race leader, might just about be able to get away with that without losing a place in his class. Stevie, talk us through it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. I'm sorry. There he goes. He's off.
Simply lost the rear just a little bit too quick into the corner, but Lesnoy remarkably still has the race lead in the Spec 2 class. Arabian and Miney side by side though. Up towards turn 13 is Gaspers encounters traffic, and this is exactly what you won't want to be seeing up ahead of him. That's Sherman and Gould as we start the final lap of the race. The white flag will fly. And actually Lin is a little bit adrift, and has Gaspers done enough to get the race win? Gaspers has cleared all of the traffic, and Lin does not have that option. Is actually Lin, is he fuel saving? Is he under fueled here? Is Lin under pressure? Will he be lucky to keep his second place, I wonder, Stevie?
It could be. He's definitely dropped back, and those guys, Naselli and Nash, have caught Lin. I was kind of surprised to see Gaspers opening up such a big lead on Lin, but it looks like he said he's known for going longer than anybody else, or short fueling and making it. So Lin could be fuel saving, and these two guys have now caught him.
I wonder, was Lin expecting this race to be one lap shorter? They crossed the line with only a matter of seconds before the timer would have elapsed. As you see, yeah, Lin. Oh, is he running out of fuel now? He is! Lin's going slowly.
Yep.
Will Lin even be able to make his way around the circuit? I don't think he will. Lin sees his podium chances fall away from him as he heads through South Bend, turn 10. Freewheeling at this point, and it's all fine at this point. It's downhill, but he will not be able to get around. Oh, he sent... Who is that off the circuit there? Is that Nash going wide? It was Gold. Thank you very much, Stevie. It was. So Gold being caught out by Lin's slow exit. Lin surely could not make his way around, and Lin outside of the top 3 and be lucky to finish this race at all.
Yeah, Lin's issues caused the gap with Naselli and Nash as well. So Naselli's solid in second. Nash is going to come up a nice third. Bronze medal for his first time out if he continues and makes it on around.
The man who has had no such issues will be this man on your screen. The 21 of David Gaspers. He rounds the final corner, and he will take his race win. The first of this season. Lin falls out of the top 10. His main competitor fallen by the wayside. Gaspers crosses the line though to win round 5. Naselli will come across the line in second place, and Robert Nash, you're right, on his debut finishes third. Miney 4th, Green in 5th, Samoa's in 6th, with Pinero finishing in 7th place. Arabian 8th, Rodriguez 9th, or will it be a drag race to the line? And it will be Arabian just ahead of Rodriguez. West rounds out the top 10. As we see Dobek there, takes the unorthodox way of finishing. Is that Haratsky off the track? Yes, it is. Overstreet makes her way past Haratsky at the final few meters of the racetrack, and Lin just cruising across the line.
That hurts, seeing it battle for so long up front. Him and Gaspers had such a good race, put on a good show, and then to run out of fuel on the last lap.
Lin must have been expecting it to go one lap shorter. His heart must have sunk when he saw the white flag.
Yep, I think you called that exactly right. I think he expected a 1 lap shorter.
That was, I mean, it was all down to the pace of Gaspers and Lin, and Gaspers, you know, in hindsight, played a strategic blindsider by not slowing down, by making sure that the race extended by that extra lap, because that really secured his race win. We see everybody else just come across the line. We see another driver running slow. That's Andalo, Flavio Andalo. Is he running out of
another
fuel
one
as well?
Yep. Another one running out of gas. This track's kind of known for that with the Weekend Warrior races. I think we had the same issue last time we were here. The guys running out on the last lap.
And the issue is you know, I'm surprised we haven't got more cars that are running out because, you know, as I've mentioned, you know, a few seconds later, if Gasper had crossed the line a few seconds later, the race would have finished one lap shorter. So I don't think many fuel calculators and many sort of engineers were expecting this race to go for the full 21 laps. As Longjin will finish in 37th place, and I think the final driver to cross the finish line. You see Phil Berry there just round his way through the S's. What a debut race from this man, Robert Nash. Superb outing. Could have got second place. I think you're right, got caught up with Lynn going slowly, but I don't think he'll be too upset with a third place.
No, he did a very good race. Like I said, I was a little concerned how he was going to manage the pit stops, but no issues there, and he continued and battled it out all the way to the end.
Rancoon, a driver that we haven't really mentioned in this race, a fairly just, you know, fairly standard race from him. Started in 40th, will finish in 42nd, but just getting another race under his belt. Burkett, what a great race from him. He's up 13 places overall from where he started, although Jeff Fritzster up 34 places on our timing software. Finishes in 14th place, does Fritzster. And Green, you know, when we were saying that he's just going to wait and watch all of the fireworks happen ahead of him, well, that's exactly what happened. Finishes in 5th place, only Miney ahead of him. Green must be very, very pleased with that final lap.
Yeah, he did good. Like I said, he was just sitting there watching the guys race it out, and once you get to the final lap, especially the back half, it's all out and you got to go. You can't wait anymore. So here we go with our results.
We just see confirmation there that Gaspers was your qualifying leader. So Gaspers on the pole, Naselli second, Panera third. Keep that in mind because it's not going to be the same for your race results. Gaspers, though, it does win. Naselli second, Jason Green in third.
We're still not with the right result. Oh, that was just for the S1 race results.
That was the S1 race results. As we get the overall race results to give us the bigger picture. Gaspers, though, is your race winner. Maurizio Naselli in second place. Robert Nash in third. He is a Spec 1 racer, so great opening race from Nash. Yogmani finishes in fourth overall, but first in the Masters class. Jason Green, fifth. Felix Samoa, sixth. Marco Pinero, seventh. Borens Arabian, eighth. Jesus Rodriguez, ninth. Bobby West rounds out your top 10. Dobek, 11th. Overstreet, 12th. Haratsky, 13th. Fritzster in 14th. Lynn, 15th. Burkett, 16th. Halatsky, 17th. Nunez in 18th. In 28th place. I think I was a little bit muted there for a few moments. Do apologise. 29th is Ken Bately. Andrew Love, 30th. Flavio Andalo, 31st. Stephen Mitchell, 32nd. Paul Jackson, 33rd. Andrea Favini, 34th. Gary Voldbold in 35th. Jim Brewster, 36th. Gianni Longjin, 37th. Marco Trespidi in 38th place, and the first driver to finish off the lead lap. Mark Sherman, 39th. Darren Kuhn, 40th place. Phil Berry, 41st. Tom Gradwell, 42nd. And then Bradford Gould, a driver, what a race that he could have had today, will be ruining, I think, the issues that he had. Finished 43rd. Bobby Moss, 7 laps down in 44th. Mateus Weiger, 45th. And now very much into our retirees. Paolo Gori retired with 9 laps to go. Darwin Romero retired with 12 laps to go. And Steve Elson, 48th. 14 laps off the lead. Todd Hansen, another retiree. So did Vaglini, retired with 16 laps to go, and Brian Short did not take the race start. I think we should have a little bit of a chat to one of our drivers, and well, I think the only driver to start off with has got to be your overall race winner, and that will be David Gaspers. And let's bring Gaspers in to our commentary booth. David, welcome to the commentary booth. That was a great race from yourself. You must be absolutely thrilled with that.
Yeah, I'm quite happy. I got a little lucky as well that Janci came out ahead of me because he underfueled. Because I might have had a slight calculation error and had to save fuel after the pit stop as well.
I mean, I was sort of surprised that more people weren't running out of fuel when it came to the end, because I think you crossed the line with about 3 or 4 seconds to go before the race would have just finished. So you extended it by an extra lap, and that really worked in your favor. And I guess when you are leading the race, you almost have that ability to see the bigger picture when the race is going to finish, and that really played into your hands. But what a race that you had with Lynn. I think you were side by side almost on every single lap.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about that ability to judge the bigger picture, because my calculations during the race were that it's a 16-lap race instead of 20, but I got told otherwise by other drivers.
Only 4 or so laps off. I mean, that's not. Yeah, it's a few laps difference. So, well, I'll rescind my statement then. But a great race from yourself. VIR, is it a track that you enjoy? I know it's sort of a love it or hate it track.
It's one of my favorite tracks on iRacing, and since we have the special event here next week, I definitely wanted to do this race as practice.
Brilliant. Well, congratulations, David, on your race win. Before we let you go, is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out to at all?
Yeah, first of all, thanks to the people that told me it's 20 laps. Then thanks to you for broadcasting it, and Steve for organizing the league.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much, David. And once again, congratulations on your race win today.
Thank you.
As we just say thank you very much to your overall race winner, David Gaspers. And let's have a chat to your Masters winner. Let's bring him into the commentary booth. Jorg, welcome to the commentary booth. A great race from yourself. Like the leading pair, it almost felt like you were swapping positions every single lap, but you managed to prevail, managed to get 4th overall, another Masters win as well. You must be pretty pleased.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Sebastian. Yeah, thanks a lot. Hello, guys. Good evening. And yeah, it was a quite exciting race, especially with my beginning again. So I apologized again by Miro because I forgot the cold brakes and I almost smacked him out there. So I hope he takes the apologize. But lucky-wise, I did not crash into him. But after that, I tried to get in rhythm, didn't. For at least half of the race, I was not in rhythm at all. So I just let the people pass, snuck behind them again, and to see where my chances are. And that's how I survived, actually. Yeah. But it's nice. It was fun.
It certainly looked fun out on the circuit today, and it really felt like a race. I think we said it in commentary, me and Steve, that actually it is a race just to stay behind and watch the action unfold ahead of you, and then sort of pick up the pieces at the end. And I think that's exactly what happened in your case. VIR, is it a track that you enjoy? Is it is it one that you look forward to, or is it one that you are dreading just a little bit?
No, it's a nice track, actually. It's even if it's a very high draft track, but it's still difficult to drive. There are a few sections on this track, like the last bit, the last section, last 3 corners. It's really, really difficult, especially if you pass the guys on the straight with draft, to find the right braking point. It's not easy, but I like it. It's not my favorite one, but I like it.
And next week we head to the newest track, I should say, in iRacing, the Rudskogen in Sweden. I think I forget
No,
my country.
Norway. It's
Norway.
Norway.
Thank you very much. It was a 50-50 guess. It's way too late for me. Is it a track that you've driven before? Is it a track that you think you'll like?
I was on it on week 13 with the IRO4 car, and I was on it with the Spec Ford, and I love it. So it's going to be interesting. I like it.
That sounds like a good endorsement. Well, thank you so much, Jorg, for coming to talk to us in the commentary booth. Before we let you go and celebrate your race win, anybody you'd like to give a shout out to at all?
Yeah, to everybody I race with, the guys are just amazing. We always have a blast, even in our Discord channel. To our sponsor, RaceVoice, and to you guys, of course, for broadcasting that. It's a lot of fun. We always try to attract more people, as we did again this race, and we always mention Weekend Warriors and Apex Racing during the practice sessions during the week. So thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you so much. And once again, your congratulations on your class win.
Thank you. And good night.
Good night. And that was Jorg Miney, your Masters race winner. And well, I think we could have a very quick chat to Yangtze Lin, your driver that was running in second place for so long. Let's bring him in to the commentary booth. And welcome to the commentary booth, Yangtze. That was an amazing race from yourself. You must be gutted that you didn't have one extra lap of fuel.
No, I mean it was expected. I was expecting it to be 19 laps because what was it? Last season's race was 19 laps, and then I actually I just did my field. I came out ahead of everyone, and yeah, and we went a little bit too fast. Let's see. In the end, I tried to slow the race down to 19 laps by racing David very hard. But he doesn't cooperate with me. He was lifting every time I try to force a side-by-side with him. I mean, I could have gone for the field safe pass to make sure that I finish second. But that probably will cause a community outrage again.
I mean, it was thoroughly enjoyable watching you and David go wheel to wheel. I think it felt, I said to David, it almost felt like every single lap you were going side by side at least once. And my favorite move of the race has to be when you overtook through the snake, really took David by surprise. I mean, it looked like you had a lot of fun out there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they told me that I should have raced them properly, so I raced them properly. There we go.
Well, congratulations. And is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out to at all on the broadcast?
I mean, thank you too very much for broadcasting the race today. I know there's a commentator shortage, so I mean, thank for you two showing up, and thank to series sponsors. Thank to actually, there's no sponsor for my team, so thank my team boss, I guess. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks Steve organizing the league. Yeah, and I mean, I can't run full season this season because I'm going back to China and temporarily retire from racing for a few months in 2 weeks. So yeah, this season is just more trolling for me.
Well, thank you so much, Yangtze, for coming to talk to us in the commentary booth, and we'll see you in 1 week's time when we head to Rudskogen.
Yep, see you at Rudskogen.
Rudskogen. I need to get my pronunciation better.
No. I was making fun of it because it's really hard to read.
Well, thank you so much, and I guess commiserations on your race today.
Yeah, on my 15th place finish, I made it. All right, see you all next time.
Thank you very much, and that was Yangtze Lin, your 15th place finisher, but certainly a driver who was battling at the sharp end of the grid all race long. But that is your race finished for today, and what a race we had around the Virginia International Raceway. 1 week's time, we head to Rudskogen, the track in Norway, one of the newest additions to iRacing. It's going to be certainly thrilling, I am sure. But from us here today, it's a farewell, and thank you so much for joining us. I have been Sebastian Bosch-Williams in the commentary booth, been joined by Stevie Ray with Lewis Ward on production. As I said, we will see you in 1 week's time as the SRF Weekend Warrior Championship heads to Norway.
Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.